Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Glory Glory Man United podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Quinn, and join me today on Deadline Day for the first time is Stu, who's one of the hosts of the Devil's Advocate podcast. How's it going, Stu?
Yeah, good. Yeah, I've had a good day today. I've enjoyed watching some of the deadline action go on. I haven't been able to catch up with everything, but from what I've seen so far, it's been quite an interesting day. I would imagine Paulina will be crying in his Bavarian beer tonight as he's travelling back, unless somebody puts an 11th hour bid for him, because clearly now teams know that they can get him. Unless as far as I'm aware, the deal's off, isn't it, with Palhinha to Bayern Munich, from what I'm hearing. So very interesting. So, if we have 50, 60 million quid shoved away, I think financial fair play, go and get him. What a deal he would be. But no, it's been interesting. Some interesting moves. I think Forest have been very, very active today, haven't they? Callum Hudson-Odoi and a couple of other players. I think they brought a goalkeeper in. Tottenham have been relatively active. They're still hoping to get Conor Gallagher over the line, aren't they, tonight from Chelsea? Chelsea have run out of money, maybe, or have realised that they can't keep spending the way they're spending. And we've added. A lot of our fans won't like it. They'll be extremely underwhelmed by the 12-month contract for Johnny Evans, the Reguilon deal. They'll be happy with Amrabat, of course, although there'll be murmurings and murmurs that we didn't get him across the line 3 months ago, like perhaps we should have. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out between now and probably 1 o'clock, because I think if deal sheets go in between the hours of 9 and 11, then gives you time to negotiate. So will there be any surprises? I don't see it from our side at all. But will there be any surprises? Will Mo Salah get his wish and go to Saudi Arabia for that ridiculous amount of money? Be interesting to see. Interesting few hours to go, I have to say. And of course, don't forget, there's a Premier League match tonight, isn't it? Luton play West Ham at Kenilworth Road. I think first time the Premier League first time in the Premier League ever. So that will be interesting. But all in all, yeah, good day. Good day.
Yeah, Man United have certainly been very active already.
Mm.
3 players over the line, and hopefully the most important one to come next. But you'd expect United to. I mean, the fee was agreed with Fiorentina around lunchtime, so you think that would give United plenty of time. They could even do the medical out there in Florence if they want to. I
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
I know United's chief negotiator has been out there since last night. So I think this will beat the clock. I would like to think so anyway, because could you imagine the uproar if they didn't get this across the line on time?
Yeah, I mean, they think, well, yes, yeah, no, he'll beat the clock. That'd be absolutely fine. I would love a surprise signing, surprise loan of a striker. Can't see that happening. Rumours are that Rasmus Højlund is in line to start, if not start, at least feature on Sunday, which will be good. By all accounts, they got Reguilon across the line before midday today, which is good. Registered so he can play Sunday. Johnny Evans, they got across the line before midday, and the Turkish goalkeeper has been training this morning as well, hasn't he? So apparently they were across the line before midday. Amrabat, obviously. Actually, we don't know too much about him at the minute in terms of his fitness, do we? I don't think he's played for Fiorentina so far this season, has he? He's been training alone, so where his fitness levels are, it could be maybe an integration period of 2 to 3 weeks for Amrabat. But when he finally signs those papers.
Yeah, his last game for Fiorentina, I think, was the Europa Conference League final
Oh, well,
back
there
in
you
back in June, where they lost narrowly to West Ham. But I think he performed very well in that game, as he quite often does. I mean, everybody has seen that footage of him um, chasing after Mbappe and winning the ball
go.
off him. I mean,
Yeah,
if he can match Mbappe for pace and take the ball off him, well, he's certainly not going to find playing in the Premier League week in week out very difficult, because arguably Mbappe is the best player on the planet. So if he can match him, then he's a match for anyone, really, isn't he?
No, I totally agree. I mean, the funny part for me was when he started accelerating, he popped his head back, which was hilarious. That was quite funny, that was. But the interesting thing about that is his stride. He's not. I mean, he is a very very quick player when he wants to be, but that's not his game. His game's all about stride and getting across the pitch as economical as efficiently as possible. That particular run that everybody keeps showing, he had to put the afterburners on, otherwise Mbappe would have left him for dead. What was more interesting about that than anything was his ability to pop the tackle and win the ball. That was the key area because a lot of players, once they've done that 50, 60-yard sprint and you're chasing an express train like Mbappe, it's just about getting the tackle in. That's your first and foremost thought. To actually get the tackle, identify the ball that bobbled, and you can come away with it was great. Knock it off, to a teammate and get your breather in, and that's what he did. So yeah, he was phenomenal in the World Cup. I thought he did really, really well in the Europa Conference League. I thought he was efficient, good with his passing, very, very tidy footballer. But more importantly, he'll offer this foil for Casemiro, and he will give this, Casemiro um, more kind of comfort and calmness when we play. However, I was at the game on Saturday, and I thought Ericsson was absolutely outstanding. His control of the game against Forest when we got into it was phenomenal. So missing Ericsson was a problem for us. We were on the show actually on Devil's Advocate podcast. I made a point that Mason Mount should not be playing against Wolves, if you remember. I hosted that show, and for me, it was Ericsson that should come in. And we were proven right because Casemiro and Bruno don't know what to do with Mount, don't understand his play, and it's maybe we take them out the firing line. Maybe he's not as injured as they're making out, and we've taken him out the firing line. So I think the Amrabat deal is crucial. I think Region is a smart piece of business. I've seen it all over Twitter today, people going in on the Region deal. A couple of larger channels having a bit of a pop, saying that if we can't put a deal to Cucurella, we'll just go for Region. Again, fans will remember that we wanted him 2 seasons ago when he was at Real Madrid, and he didn't have a bad run out for Spurs last season. He just doesn't fit into what Postecoglou wants to do. They're playing Porro, aren't they, in Region's position? And Porro's, a good player. He caused us problems when we played Spurs. So, interesting. The Turkish goalkeeper's 26, looks decent. What is he, 6'4", something like that? And of course, welcome back, Johnny Evans. And you can criticise the signing of Johnny Evans, fans can all they like, but you can't beat experience. And clearly, Maguire is 4th choice, maybe even 5th choice. Nobody seems to know what's happening with Maguire at the minute. But with Varane being out, Luke Shaw being out, and Malacia being out, we needed defensive reinforcements, and that's happened. So quite pleased, really, quite pleased.
Yeah, Pedro Porro mainly plays on the right. I think there's a guy called Destiny or something that plays
Oh,
on the
that's
left.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that new lad. Yeah, they brought in, but I think Porro can play left as well. But ideally, Region wasn't going to play in in Postecoglou's system, and I think we benefited from it. People have got to remember we've got an experienced player, and we've got a Premier League proven player. I know people will say Cucurella is a better option for us of what he did at Getafe, what he did at Brighton. He did hasn't had a great time of it at Chelsea. So I don't know. Proofs in the pudding. It'll be interesting to see if they throw him in on Sunday and if he can actually tame Saka.
Um, well, we'll talk about that game at the end of the show, but
Mm.
uh, that's going to be a hell of a tall order, especially for someone who's
Mm.
not known for his defensive abilities. He's more known for his attacking side of the
Correct.
game. Um, yeah, Tottenham, even in the Carabao Cup, they selected Ben Davis at left back. So
That's right.
he didn't even feature at all in the squad in the Carabao Cup. So he's very much third choice there. So Tottenham are quite happy to let him go without even a loan fee. Not featuring in the manager's plans at all. Um, So we'll talk about each new signing today more in depth, and we'll start off with Region. Yeah, I've seen seen him play for Sevilla against us, Spurs against us, and lots of other games that didn't involve United.
Mm,
Didn't really see much of him at Atletico last season. I think he only played 12 times.
12
Um,
times, yeah, yeah.
but when I've seen him, what stands out for me is that he's a very good crosser of the ball. Loves to get in behind, and he can cross the ball with both feet as well. Um, so he can't, even if you try to show him onto his right foot, he can still cross the ball like Ashley Young into the middle. But I do recall specifically, if you remember the game against Spurs at Old Trafford where Ronaldo got the hat trick. Harry Maguire scored an own goal. It was Reguilon who assisted the own goal from Harry Maguire. It
That's
was a very
right.
good. It was a very good cross. He also played in. Sorry for bringing this up, everybody, but Reguilon also started at left back in the game where Spurs won 6-1 at Old Trafford
He did.
3 years ago, and that was a horror show, wasn't it? When Martial
Yeah.
was sent off. Um, yeah, so and he played for Sevilla when they beat us in the Europa League semi final. So he's got pedigree of beating United now. Hopefully, he can
Mm.
s- stay on the winning side when he's wearing the red shirt. So, but what managers? He doesn't seem to stick around anywhere for very long. And maybe I've noticed that he's not a particularly great one-on-one defender. Maybe that's what puts managers off. He's great at one at the top end of the pitch, but not so great at doing the basics when it comes to defending. Um, so how do you feel about this signing? I'm excited about what he can bring in the attacking third, but I'm a bit concerned about what he'll do in the defensive third.
Yeah, it's a good point you raise. I must admit, I prefer a fullback to defend first and foremost and attack secondary. But the modern day game doesn't allow that anymore, does it? The modern day game is it's all about attacking. What can you do in the final third of the pitch? You're absolutely right. And the point about him is his positional sense on occasions is not great. And you're absolutely right. He's not great on one-on-one defending, and that tends to be his body position. If he's playing against a predominantly right-footed player, you want to try as much as you can to bring him onto his left foot if he's got a weaker left foot. Saka, unfortunately for us, isn't bad on both. He's not great, but he's not bad on both, and he can attack from both sides. But ideally, as a fullback, you want to push your opponent as far down to the byline as you possibly can and cut the crossing distance out if you can. And he's not great at that. That's 100%. However, if we are playing somebody like Rasmus Højlund, then quite frankly, with Anthony and with Rashford on the pitch on our wider areas, Rasmus Højlund will not be getting the type of service that he thrives on. Okay, he's very good, as we all know, at holding the ball up about 25, 30 yards out, then running into the box, but he's going to need service. Reguilon will offer service because 100% his crossing ability from deep and also from the byline is superb. He's very, very accurate. He's got either pace or he's got a technical ability to get the ball exactly where a striker needs it. So I think he will add quite a bit from that point of view. His communication will be absolutely key with Rashford, i.e. bringing Rashford back. One of the issues we had against Forest was what both Anthony and Rashford were really elevated, high up the pitch. So, in particular, Dalot was often left exposed. Having said that, though, Dalot kind of exposed himself on 3 or 4 occasions by drifting into this supposed inverted fullback that everybody wants to play at the moment. So, look, for me, for Reguilon, if I was Reguilon, my concentration for the first 20, 25 minutes, if I do start on Sunday, will be defending, making sure that I'm in line with Martinez, and I'm presuming it's going to be Lindelof. I know we'll talk about this later, but I'm guessing Lindelof, and making sure that I'm aware of my zones and at my quarter that I need to be as and when we're out of possession. When we're in possession, again, communication with Rashford, just making sure that I've got enough time and space and energy to make it back. What you didn't mention was his energy. He is an exceptionally energetic player. more energetic and more comfortable on the football than Dallo, in my opinion. But like Dallo, offers us weaknesses at the back. So it's going to be a juggle. It's going to be a difficult one. I would expect to see Martinez cover gaps that Reguilon has left. But I do hope that Ten Hag is speaking to Rashford about his responsibilities when we're at possession. So, but no, I take your point. I think he's he's a bit dodgy. But is he? When you look at it, Kyle, would you prefer a quantified left back or a Diogo Dallo there? That's the question I would ask myself from a balance perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a nice balance with Aaron Wan-Bissaka being a very solid defensive right back. It almost allows you to have like an offensive left back. And
Yes.
like we'll talk about Amrabat just now, but when you have Amrabat and Casemiro playing together, as we will probably in most of our big games,
Yeah.
maybe not on Sunday because Amrabat, I don't think he'll be available for that game. He's not
I don't think
registered.
he plays. I don't think he plays. No.
Yeah, he won't be registered on time anyway. It had to be midday today, and it's obviously not done yet. Um, but with those two anchormen in midfield, Casemiro and Amrabat, and you have Wan-Bissaka right back, and obviously Martinez with Lindelof at the moment. So it would give license to Reguilon to get forward. So if he's caught out of position, like Amrabat be able to come across, or Martinez, like you say. So from that point of view, it's really exciting that he's got license to get forward, and there'll be there players there to cover for him. I do think, yeah, you're right that I can see Rasmus Højlund getting goals from Reguilon crosses.
Me
Uh,
too. Me too. Yeah. Yeah. And I've got to be honest. I think that's what was in the thinking of Ten Hag, because when you look at Cucurella, I don't recall him being a hugely active crosser of the football. I could be wrong. I haven't seen a huge amount of him, but I don't recall his abilities of crossing. He's quite a good defender, isn't he, Cucurella? And he's quite good at advancing, but I don't necessarily see him as a good, accurate crosser of the football. Uh, Anyone can correct me on that one, but I don't see that. So I think Reguilon's a better fit for us.
yeah, the more I talk about it, the more excited I'm getting about it. It's one of
Yeah,
them ones.
it is one
Yeah,
of those. It is exactly that, Carl. Again, you've hit the nail on the head there, mate. That's exactly right. When you look at it from face value, it is deflating, isn't it? Oh, Tottenham cast off, blah, 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 blah. But when you actually talk about football and footballing abilities, it becomes a different conversation.
yeah, 100%. So Amrabat is close to being done. Um, he hasn't played with Fiorentina since the Conference League final. He was amazing in that game. Was had an extraordinary World Cup where Morocco got to the semi-finals. He stood out by a mile in that. I've watched most of Morocco's games, especially the semi-final against France, and I was thinking, who is that guy? We should sign that guy, and now we are going to sign him. And we needed a defensive midfielder not only to cover for Casemiro when he gets suspended or injured, but also to play alongside him in games where we need, like away from home, against Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Tottenham, Chelsea, Barcelona, whoever. We need to be more solid in midfield. We've seen how easy it has been to, get through our midfield with Mount, Bruno, and Casemiro being the three, because Mount and Bruno are pushing up, and once the press is beaten, then there's big gaps to exploit for the opposition. But if you've got Amrabat playing alongside Casemiro, it's going to be a lot harder to get through our midfield. So that's what's really exciting me about the signing, and he could be the missing piece of the jigsaw in addition to Rasmus Højlund up front. So I think Amrabat and Højlund could be key to us being successful this season.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you make. I think you're right. Look, I judge our acquisition of players on a variety of different things. And the interesting thing about good old Sofian Amrabat is nobody was talking about him pre-World Cup. Okay, nobody. He wasn't on Manchester United's radar that we know about, and he wasn't on any of the fans' radar that we know about. There might be the one or two murmurs about, well, we should go for Amrabat. A lot of people will claim that, oh, I spoke about Amrabat 2 years ago, etc., etc., etc. We have this with certain signings. We have it with Frankie de Jong. Nobody was talking about Frankie de Jong 18 months ago. I defy anyone to tell me they were, because I didn't hear it. And that happens. And we were clamoring for Frankie de Jong, weren't they, the fan base? Oh, we must have Frankie de Jong. He'll be the difference. But Amrabat actually will make a difference. And he'll make a difference because of yardage. Now, you made a point about pressing. There's two types of presses, three types of presses really, but the two major types of presses are in-your-face pressing, which a lot of our fans only think is the only type of pressing. The other type of pressing is zonal pressing. And zonal pressing is understanding where you are positionally and where you can get to quickly. Okay, so if you're 10 yards off a player, can you get to those 10 yards and close him down before he moves into a position of danger? Amrabat does that really well. If you watch him, he'll go in for the tackle. He loves a 50-50, but he's also very, very smart and educated in the way that he plays the game. So one of the things that Mount's issue for Mount was that, and you're quite right to point it out, he was too far advanced of Casemiro. So there's about a 20-yard, maybe even a 25-yard gap between Casemiro and Mount at some points. If you watch the game on Saturday, you'll see that Eriksen and Casemiro were a lot closer together, maybe about 10, 12 yards apart on every occasion. So Casemiro had Eriksen to play the ball to, and that gave Bruno the more freer role. So Mason Mount was always going to be a kind of long-term project, a January onwards project. That's why you'll see Mount really come into his own. And the other reason for that is we will have a greater understanding of what Mason Mount can bring to the team. Whereas Amrabat is more of an instant fix for us. And Eriksen will know this. Eriksen will get this. I mean, Højbjerg would have been okay for us as well, by the way. Højbjerg isn't this kind of dumb footballer that a lot of our fan base would have you believe. He made, and you'll know this because he made Spurs tick big time when they turned us over 6-1. He was very much a linchpin, and he has been a linchpin for Tottenham. He just doesn't fit into the way that Postecoglou wants to play. But what you'll see is a very much a Brighton situation with McAllister and Caicedo. They almost manoeuvred in a fish type kind of formation, but they're always about 10 or 15 yards away. Here's the key for Casemiro. If Casemiro kind of moves himself up the pitch, Amrabat can slot into him quite nicely. If Reguilon decides he wants to go on a run, Amrabat can slot into that nicely. So it allows Casemiro to do his normal 2-3 yard shuffle. And if you watch Casemiro, he stays pretty much centrally as much as possible throughout the game. And if he gets the ball and he releases the ball, he'll just jog 2 to 3 to 4 yards and he'll stop and he'll just make a decision. He'll watch whether the transition has happened. And if the transition has happened, he's perfectly positioned to go left or right to intercept any kind of passing. If we maintain possession, he'll jog another 3, 4, 5 yards. And he'll keep doing that until he feels that he can either influence the attack or he needs to get back. With Amrabat alongside him, certainly away at Anfield, certainly away at City, certainly away at Arsenal, Tottenham, because Tottenham at the minute are playing a great brand of football. Brighton, people that are playing a great brand of football at the moment. Villa, that solidity that Amrabat will offer, you'll see a much better Casemiro, 100%. And I think you'll probably agree with me, you saw a much better Casemiro on Saturday when Eriksen was alongside him because he knew what was going to happen. And that's what Amrabat will bring. I don't think he'll bring us goals. He might get the odd 1 or 2. But you won't escape him. And that's what we need. We need that type of player. That Kevin De Bruyne, Rodri. Rodri's brilliant, isn't he? Just breaking up the play and getting rid of the football. Amrabat will kind of counteract that with a Rodri or with a deep holding player at Liverpool, because I'm confused on who Liverpool have got in their centre midfield at the moment. I'm really confused about that. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Amrabat play. So the sooner he signs, the the better. Oh, he's completed his medical according to information.
Happy days. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
going to bring so much balance to the team in terms of allowing Region to get forward. He can fill in if we lose possession, and also not only will him and Casemiro provide a real solid base for us in midfield, but it also might give license to, like you've alluded to the fact that Amrabat doesn't really bring much to the table in terms of attacking play, but
yeah,
Casemiro very much has that in his locker. So
correct.
Amrabat would allow Casemiro to get forward more, which is also making me very excited just thinking about it, because we know that Casemiro can score from distance. He can get in the box and score headers. So yeah,
Yeah,
we might see a more offensive Casemiro with Amrabat on the team too, won't we?
yeah. I mean, Casemiro could move into the eight. You're absolutely right. Casemiro's had the crooner Tony Cruz alongside him and Luka Modric, two of the best exponents of midfield attacking play you'll get. Crooner just honestly waltzes around the pitch, and Modric has got the eye for a goal and a ball, and Casemiro's got that about him. When you play with these types of players, the influence they can have on you is huge. But Casemiro has a job at Manchester United in a minute, and he fulfills that absolutely terrifically. And I think there's nothing to stop at some point. Us playing two up top and bringing Amrabat, Ericsson, Casemiro, and Bruno as a midfield kind of diamond forward. There's nothing to stop us doing that. We've got that ability to be able to do it. But if and then you'll have Rasmus and Rashford. I would suggest as your front two. Which could be massively dangerous.
Yeah,
But he won't drop Anthony though, will he? So
no,
that's,
no, unfortunately not. Because another point I was going to make is that not only would Regulon's crosses provide opportunities for Hoyland to score, but Palestri's crossing would also give him a big chance to score from crosses as well. But and I suppose that's worth mentioning now that the manager has indicated that Palestri will not only stay at the club, but he's going to get more opportunities, which I really hope that he does.
yeah,
Um, if he's going to be Anthony's backup, he should be exactly that. He shouldn't be, a player who he gets 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there. If he's going to be Anthony's backup, he needs to start in game. Like there's going to be a lot from September onwards. There's going to be 2 games a week. Now, Palestri
exactly.
should be getting a lot of game time, in my opinion. He should be starting certain Champions League games at home. You can start those League Cup matches. You start those and the odd Premier League game as well. So I
Yeah,
really want to see more
and
from Palestri.
early rounds of the FA Cup as well. I totally agree with you. Hannibal Medjugorje. I think Kobe Mino is going to be looking like he's going to be back in the next few weeks. Garnacho needs to stop believing his own press and start going back to what he was doing back end of last season. He's had a bit of a rude awakening as Garnacho now. I think he's realised, oh, fuck, I've got to get back to what I was doing. I've got to start working hard again. So I think that'll be interesting. Look, Palestri for me, believe it or not, would be an ideal 10. People disagree with me on it, but if you look at his stature, his low centre of gravity, the way that he holds the ball very, very tight to his feet, his dribbling ability, he's strong, he's squat, it'd be a fantastic 10 in years to come for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it suddenly looks like we have options. For most of the last 10 years, we were like, oh, we can't afford for this that player to get injured, other because we're in trouble because our bench is rubbish. Now, with these signings today, especially with Amrabat, it looks like we've got so many options in midfield now. We obviously got options at left back once everybody's fit, and with forward positions, we've got
Well,
probably two players in each of those positions as well.
we're well stocked now because there's a couple of things for Ten Hag to look at. Depending on what happens with good old Raphael Varane, Varane's been pretty solid the first couple of games. Not been brilliant, but it's been pretty solid. Martinez is kind of getting himself back into his old self. It is Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw can play left back or he can play left centre half, as we've seen. So, I would keep Reggie on past January and move Luke Shaw into one of the centre half positions. Really, that's something I would do. up top, we are blessed. And so certain players, Sancho for one, Garnacho for another, have got to look and say, right, what am I going to do to make sure that I'm playing week in, week out? You know, what am I going to do? Because the responsibility is on the player, by the way. The same for Maguire, same for Martial. Martial was okay Saturday, got 60 minutes under his belt, and he did okay. He wasn't great. His sharpness is gone. It really has. His sharpness it just isn't there. But you expect that when you've been injured for 8 months, which I think is it 8 months, something like that. He's been injured for a long time, hasn't he?
Which player is this?
Martial.
Martial. Yeah, he spends 8 months every year injured. Yeah.
Yeah, so you are going to struggle. He may well play Saturday, Sunday, and and he may well bring Hoyland off the bench. Um, Although he has come out and said that Hoyland's ready to start, hasn't he? So read into that what you will. I don't know. I don't. I didn't even know Hoyland had got a squad number. Everybody was telling me the other day it was 17, but I didn't think that was ever confirmed. And so supposedly Ganacho's wearing 17, isn't he? So I
Yes.
don't. Yeah, so I don't know whether he's got a squad number or not. Martial won't want to give up the number 9, will will he? So anyway, I can see the importance of a number, by the way, because I kick up a fuss if I don't wear number 8. I'm like a petulant child if I don't have 8 at the beginning of the season, when the squad's read out. So
Yeah, Garnacho appeared to confirm on social media that he's going to be wearing 17. No, actually, I think it was Garnacho's brother or someone like that.
mm,
Someone with
mm,
the surname Garnacho, anyway, was showing photos of him and his kids in a 17 shirt,
I did see
Garnacho on
that.
the back.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's very bizarre and weird that Hoyland still doesn't have an official squad number. Probably United will confirm that tomorrow once the window shuts.
Yeah, I would gather that. Yeah, I think that's what they've done because certain players might want particular numbers as an example. So yeah, I would agree with you on that one.
I have a feeling he's going to be number 11. Maybe they're waiting for Greenwood to leave in this today. Yeah, but
I don't think he
not
goes, does he? I don't think he goes anywhere, Greenwood. I don't think anyone. I don't think there's any takers for him. Our best player
no,
in
no,
Arabia.
it's not looking good for him. Although the Saudi Arabian window will be open till the 7th, so
That's right. Yeah.
there's an
So there's an
opportunity there.
opportunity to do a deal, or I think I don't know if the Qatari window's open until then. I don't know, but they've got to do something with him for his own mental health. He needs to move on.
Yeah, there's a rumor. There's rumors that Ronaldo, because he doesn't like Greenwood, was blocking his transfer to the Saudi Super League, but I don't know how true that is.
It
Um,
wouldn't surprise me. Although I would imagine if Mo Salah goes there, Ronaldo will be crying, wanting more money, won't he? So
Yeah, because Salah will be the highest paid player ever if he goes there, and Ronaldo then his wage will have to be increased to be higher than that then, because you know what
I
he's
would
like.
imagine. I would imagine that's in there somewhere in his contract. If that happens, yeah,
Absolutely.
he's going to want issues. So
So we have signed another goalkeeper. We've completely overhauled our goalkeeping department in this window.
yeah, yeah,
With De Gea, uh, Henderson, and Kovar leaving the club, and obviously Unana coming in, and the first ever Turkish player to play for Man United. We'll certainly get the hang of his name pronunciation over time. I'll make a
yes,
stop. I'll make a go at it here. Um, Alte Benin Dyer. I really don't know.
no,
That was an
no,
I, I completely butchered that. But yeah, he has 5 caps for Turkey. He's played for Fenerbahce 145 times, so he's 25, and so he's an experienced goalkeeper. Ten
yeah,
Hag says they scouted him intensively, um, so they obviously believe that he's a very suitable number 2, and that he can come into the team if need be, and he can improve as well because he's still young for a goalkeeper. But it's worth pointing out that Cameroon can still qualify for the African Nations Cup. I think they have to win a
okay,
qualifier in September
right,
to make that happen. Um, Looking at the fixture, it looks like a winnable game for Cameroon. And Onana could come back into the picture after a fallout during the World Cup. That would mean that for a 4 to 6 week period in the new year, we'll be without a number one goalkeeper. So it was absolutely crucial that we sign a goalkeeper that's capable of playing, as a number one for 4 weeks. So we wouldn't want to be relying on a very young, inexperienced keeper from the youth team to do that. So um, he's an experienced keeper, and he'll be used to pressure because at
Yeah,
Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, what the crowds are like. It's a pressurized environment over there, and people we talk about Man United and Liverpool and Arsenal, and in Premier League pressures, but in Turkey, if you don't win, you get absolutely hammered by the fans. So he's used to the pressure. What have you seen of this goalkeeper, and what do you make of him?
so I think he's quite an astute signing, if I'm being honest. But you must, and I would question, why did we blow 45 million quid on a goalkeeper? We could have, extended De Gea's contract for 12 months and used that 45 million quid better in the transfer window. That's not to say Onana's not a great goalkeeper, because he clearly is, and he fits exactly how Ten Hag wants to play, coming out from the back, etc. So getting the number two, Henderson was never going to stay. It was never a long-term project for Henderson. He wanted out. He made his bed last summer, didn't he, with his criticism of the club. So he was never going to make it as a number two. So from what I've seen of this kid, he commands his box really, really well, and I like a goalkeeper that commands his box. So he's going to come out, and he'll definitely punch Varane out the way, or Martinez out the way to get all the ball. He's got no issues. It will clatter a centre forward, and we need that. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he's very, very athletic, and he'll get game time. And you're going to see Onana not play Carabao Cup matches, and you'll see this kid play. Based on, I think Onana is going to break his self-imposed exile for Cameroon. I think he's going to go back and play for Cameroon, and I think you're absolutely right. We're going to rely on this kid for 6 weeks. If I was Onana, I wouldn't be going anywhere near international football right now. He fell out with the coach, didn't he? You've just joined a new club. You don't want to be 6 weeks away from Manchester United in January. I think that's just foolish. And if his agent or somebody needs to get hold of him and say, listen, mate, I would suggest that Ten Hag already posed this question to him before they signed him and said, look, we need your assurances that you're not going to come out of retirement and go and play. Certainly not this year, not next year. We need you to have a solid 12 months with the club. He may have changed his mind. He seems to be that type of maverick character, Onana, so he could change his mind. But I think we've got a very, very good backup in this Turkish keeper. I like him because he came smartly dressed. He was in a suit. He looked exceptionally proud to sign for the club, and I like that. That's what I like. He's done his videos, and I think he'll be okay for us. I think you'll see him early on. I think we'll see him in September, October. I think we'll see him play, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll play in the League Cup games, and maybe even the
100%. Early rounds of the FA Cup as well. Maybe not so much Champions League just yet, but early rounds of FA Cup for definite.
And you mentioned how much he wanted to come to the club. We have to also mention that in terms of Amrabat, he's rejected just about everybody that's come in for him.
Yeah.
I mean, Fiorentina have accepted 30 million euro bids from other Premier League clubs, and he said, no, 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 I want to go to Manchester United. He rejected moves from Turkey, Saudi Arabia. United was always his priority from June onwards, and he stuck to that, and now he's getting what he deserves. So I'm very impressed by that, how his desperation to play for the club.
Look, Amrabat would have, if he'd stayed at Fiorentina or he'd gone to Forest or he'd gone to Fulham, he would have turned out in a Man United shirt. He wouldn't have bothered with their shirt. It would have been a Manchester United shirt he was going to wear. He made up his mind as soon as the club had made contact with his representatives. That was it. Yes, I'm going. He doesn't care about salary. Don't care about anything. He's not interested in signing on fee, but he's interested. Rather like the keeper, rather like Region, from what I can gather, pulling on that shirt, that red shirt, that famous red shirt. because Reguilon's come out and said you don't turn Manchester United down, you don't do it. Second time, lucky for him, he made it. He made a mistake. He's finally got his win. We don't know whether we pulled out of that deal for Reguilon before he went to Spurs. We don't know this. He could have been hard set on United, and we just backed away from it. Nobody knows. So he's here. It looks to me like we've got three players that want to be here. Hoyland wants to be here. Anana was going nowhere else as well, by all accounts. It was only going to be Manchester United. And yeah, so I am impressed with that. You need character. Football, it's not always about the name on the back of the shirt. It's always about getting the right players, making sure you're getting efficiency for your money. And I think we get that with these players. But a really astute point about the keeper, by the way. You're absolutely right. I've been out there when Manchester United played Galatasaray back in the 90s. Welcome to hell. I was there, and let me tell you, it's a place you don't want to be. So it's a place you don't want to be.
And it's a place we're going back to in this autumn.
I know, I know, I know. It's different now, and we're going to be facing Wilfried Zaha, aren't we? I think we're going to be facing Ziyech as well. I think they've done some good business, Galatasaray. They'll be a good team. Very, very offensive team. Very, very difficult tie that will be there. Very difficult tie. We'll need to win our home games in the Champions League for sure.
Yeah, obviously the group is Bayern, Galatasaray, and FC Copenhagen. Now we're looking for 6 points against Copenhagen,
Yeah,
and then just in case the away leg in Turkey turns out to get, in case we get turned over there, as we quite often do when we go to Turkey, I think we
yeah,
need to
yeah.
be. I think to be assured of a place in the knockout stages, we need to be looking at beating Bayern at home. I'd like to win that game.
I think we need
Now,
10 points. 10 points will get us through. And that's either a Galatasaray win, 2 losses against Bayern, and maybe a draw at home against Bayern, 2 losses. Galatasaray away, because I wouldn't put it past us to lose a Galatasaray away. I really wouldn't. And I think it'd be
no.
difficult to go to Bayern and beat them away. However, it could all change, couldn't it? With Amrabat in there, it could all change with Hoyland. If Hoyland's scoring goals at that point, it could all change if Reguilon is really settled into the rhythm. Is Varane going to be back, partnering Martinez, or does Maguire finally come out of his shell and show what he's made of? Who knows? I mean, we discussed on previous shows. People are disappointed about Maguire. I don't think he's as bad as everybody makes out. I think De Gea hamstrung him, and the lack of a defensive central midfielder hamstrung him. But at the end of the day, he's not done himself any favours over this transfer window. He's not going to adhere himself to Manchester United fans anymore. So it's going to be one of those. But the guy's got backbone. People can have a pop at him for all he likes, but he's still willing to pull on a red shirt and get abused. That's big character. That's a big character. He's in the same dressing room with Roy Keane. Roy Keane might absolutely chastise him as a footballer, but they'd adore him as a character. And character goes a long way in football.
Well, currently with Varane being injured, our first
Mm.
choice pairing is Lindelof and Martinez. So
Mm.
that probably means this League Cup game coming up against Palace, you'd expect them on. Well, maybe he won't. Ten Hag doesn't make that many changes, but if he decides to change the centre backs in that game, it would be Maguire and Evans, of course, who played together at Leicester. Now, Evans been confirmed today also that he's got a 1 year
Yeah,
contract. We knew
yeah,
that was coming. He won several Premier League titles, the FIFA Club World Cup, the League
yeah,
Cup a couple of
yeah,
times. So
yeah,
he's got a lot of experience of winning trophies at United. I think in terms of players from or United players from Northern Ireland, the only player that has won more than him is George Best. So he done
yeah,
very well in the medals department. So he brings a lot of experience, and I think Ten Hag has been full of compliments to him in every press conference. Thinks he'll be helpful to the young players. He's on 198 appearances. You like to think over the course of the season he'll get over the line in terms of 200 appearances for United.
yeah.
Um, So where do you see him in the packing order? Do you think he'll be ahead of Maguire, or do you think that he'll be fifth or sixth choice?
No, I think he slots in behind. I think he's here to start his coaching career. I think that's what he's here for. A bit like Huddleston. Huddleston. He's and Paul McShane's gone down to the 18s now, isn't he? He's coaching the 18s. So I think I don't think we can have more than one overage player in the under 23s. So I think he'll train with the kids. He'll do a couple of days a week coaching with the kids, and he fits in as and when Maguire cannot play, for example. I thought he did okay in America. Didn't play the big games, played the smaller games. So I thought he did okay. I know people are looking at it and say, "Well, we got roasted by Wrexham." Well, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody bothers about that. But you could put that kid in a big game. You could put him at Anfield. You could roll him out at Anfield. You could roll him out at the Etihad. You could roll him out Sunday. You really could. And it's not going to phase him because he's been there, he's seen it, and he's done it. For him, he's worked under Fergie. He's worked under the main man. So for him, it's a nothing. It's another day at the office. It's a bit like Tom Heaton. I know he's injured at the minute, but it's just another day at the office for these types of players, and you need them in the squad. Region, it's another day at the office. Casemiro, it's just another day at the office. Same with Ericsson. With somebody like young Fernandez, he's got something to prove. Mino, they've got something to prove. This experience that we've got, it's just another day at the office for them. And that's what you need. You need to be able to, when the chips are down in a game of football, you need to be able to look around and say, right, look at the calmness in the eyes of Ericsson, Casemiro, Johnny Evans. Anana won't give you that calmness. Bruno to an extent won't actually give you that calmness. There's still another elevation of character above Bruno, and these are the guys, and that's what you need with Johnny Evans. So Johnny Evans is a very, very, very good signing for us. Again, people won't like it; they think we're cheap, etc., etc., etc. Got to deal with it. Get on with it. Deal with it.
Yeah, his wife will be very happy as well, having
Yeah,
Johnny back by her side again. She's
yeah.
the one of the lead presenters on MUTV, of course.
That's
Um,
it.
yeah, I don't think he's going to play. He play 5 games at the most throughout the course of the season, I think, unless there's a massive injury crisis at the back,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
can happen.
He's Carabao Cup, isn't he? And he knows this. He'll know this. For him, it's absolutely brilliant. He's probably earning 20 grand a week, whatever, 25 grand a week. And he's going to, help do some coaching and just enjoy being back at Manchester United. What a dream for the kid, for the man. When you leave United, you don't expect to come back, do you?
No, I wouldn't have anticipated this at the start of the
Look at,
summer. Now,
look at Paul McShane. He's reveling back at the
yeah,
club. Absolutely reveling in it.
yeah. Paul McShane and Tom Huddleston are doing wonders with the youth teams, but I think Evans is going to be a bit more than that. I think he is going to be part of the first team picture.
I
He
think
will
he will
play
do.
the odd, yeah. If there's an injury crisis, he'll be there to fill in, and I think he will play cup games anyway.
100%.
So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, and if he's paid as little as 20 or 25 grand a week, it's worth the investment. It's not big money in today's Premier League, is it? It's a very small
No,
wage
I think,
packet.
what is he? How old is he? 30, what is he? 30,
35.
35, 36, something like that. And he's, and you re signed for Manchester United. That brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, I'm well chuffed. I think he's good.
If anyone's wondering why I'm sitting in darkness, because the lights broke in this room, so waiting on the electrician to fix it. So I'm having to put the the bright light on my phone to try and give me some light here.
Yeah,
But anyway, United very very busy deadline day. We're getting lots of deals over the line.
yeah.
They do say it is a sign of a poorly run club that's scrambling to do business on deadline day, and United certainly are that, a very poorly run club. But we won't get into that in detail
No,
tonight because
no.
we've talked that to death. Really, haven't all of us? Um,
Yes.
so Arsenal on Sunday, and I've got to be honest. I'm not expecting a result here. Certainly not expecting United to win the game. Now, I know Arsenal have had their troubles. They've the fans have been complaining about Thomas Partey playing right back to accommodate Havertz in midfield, and hopefully they stick with that. Hope that Arteta sticks with Partey at right back up against Rashford, but he might not. He might listen to the fans and change it back to the winning formula of last season.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm expecting even though Arsenal haven't played well this season like us, I think they're going to be up for this. The crowd are going to be get behind them. We cannot afford to concede early or think it's curtains. And what's like, what it's been like when Ten Hag United team go behind early in a big game away from home. It could end up any score. Hopefully United. I would take a draw right here, right now. Um, and Arsenal fans have been telling me they're poor at the back, so it could be a basketball score. It would be brilliant from a neutral point of view if that happens. Not so great for the heart. Um, but right now, if you offered me a draw, I would deal. I would take that. Um, that would be a great result for us. But I have to be honest, and I think Arsenal would probably win the game. And I hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm absolutely wrong about that. A win would be absolute dreamland, but as a draw is what I would take. But I do think that Hoyland will give us a major boost if he
mm,
manages to start and play 60 minutes. Even if he comes off the bench with 30 minutes to go and we're still in the game, that would be a massive boost as well. And
yeah.
Region might be Saka might give him a tough time, but from on the other end of the pitch, he might be able to provide us with an assist or two. So I'm a wee bit more positive than I was 2 days ago, but I still think like last season, I think Arsenal will probably edge it. What do you think?
Look, you're absolutely right. We could get absolutely battered 6-0 Sunday, or we'll scrape a victory. It's going to be one of those two. Okay. But if I was, if I'm a Manchester United player, I'm absolutely buzzing for this game. I cannot wait. I'm getting down on that train, and I'm thinking, right, what can we do to turn them over in their own backyard? Because that's what it's about. I would be buzzing for this game. Really, really looking forward to it. Really excited. It's the types of games you want to be in. The types of games that used to thrill us in the 90s and the 2000, in the 2000s. We want to get back to that type of football. There's a couple of things that we've got to consider. I think Reguilon starts purely based on Saka's ability. And unfortunately, I think Partey goes in the middle, and I think the sacrificial lamb will be Havertz. We want Havertz on the pitch because it opens up the midfield for us. But I can't see this happening against us. I think with us having Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno together again, plus the chance of Hoyland coming in, Reguilon's ability to play, which Arteta will know all about anyway, and the players of Tottenham will. I think it'll be a very, very nicely matched football game. I'm a big fan of Odegaard. I'm a big fan of Saka. I cannot believe Emil Smith-Rowe doesn't even make the starting 11 because he's absolute quality as well. And of course, they've got Martinelli, haven't they? So they've got danger on the wings. They're really cute in the middle of the park. Our best chance is to get at them through the middle, and Hoyland, I think, offers us that chance. Martial is just a little bit not sharp enough to do that. So there relies our issue, really. Anana's got to really be on his A game. I don't see them, apart from Martinelli, which to be fair, I'll be having nightmares if I was Martinelli, because you've got to go up against Wan-Bissaka. I'll be having absolute nightmares, about that, because you think around him and then all of a sudden that leg comes from nowhere and you're on the deck because he's won the ball. I'd like to see Onana concentrate better. He didn't concentrate for the first goal at all against Forest. He was put down twice pretty much on his arse, and it was a good finish by the kid. Very, very accomplished finish. So I'd like to see Onana concentrate a little bit more. He kind of grew into the game. You can't really afford to do that at Arsenal. If they get an early goal, we could crumble. We really could crumble. We're going to need absolute aggression. You've got to take a few cards, take a couple of yellow cards, and just really, really get on with it. It's going to be tough. But, I fancy us. I do. I fancy us. If you remember, this time last year, match three. I think it was match three, wasn't it? We
Uh,
played Liverpool and we beat them, and everybody said we would get hammered. It could well be we need that type of game again. I mean, Liverpool had plenty of chances, didn't they, to beat us? If you remember, just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And it could well be Arsenal could do that. Fulham came back against them 2-2. If we could get 3 points on them, we can't afford to slip too far behind City, because when we do get into some kind of rhythm, I don't think City are playing that well. I really don't. If we can get into that kind of rhythm before they start getting into a rhythm, so we're not too far behind. If we have a decent window in January, because we should have new owners by then, you never know where it will take us. So we're on 7 points. Don't forget. No, 6 points. I know we lost against Spurs, but you're going to lose in the season. It's just life. So let's just, yeah, I think we could win. I really do. I fancy it. I'm going for it. 2-1.
Certainly hope you're right. Back in January at the Emirates, we scored first. I know we lost the
Mm,
game late on, but that's what we need to do again. You know, Rashford scored an absolute screamer at the
yeah,
beginning of that game, got us off to a wonderful start. We need to start well again, and we came close to getting a point there, conceded at the very end. But we also have to remember that McTominay was our defensive midfielder in that
that's
game.
right. That's
Casemiro,
right.
Casemiro got suspended. We should have Casemiro for this game. Touch wood. Um, I would be even more confident if Amrabat was available for this one. I would definitely fancy us to get something if Amrabat was there, but he's obviously not been registered on time. So, do you think that maybe Ten Hag would consider playing McTominay alongside Casemiro? Although there's absolutely no precedent for that, because the only time last season in which McTominay started Premier League games was when Casemiro was unavailable. So
Yeah.
he doesn't seem to like that partnership. But playing Ericsson in a deep role at the Emirates could be a bit risky, because I know Ericsson is very technical, brilliant on the ball. Um, he's not like we seen at the Etihad last season. He doesn't have the energy. He doesn't track runs. So I'm always concerned about him playing deep against the bigger sides. Although he does have the option of playing Ericsson further forward and playing Bruno back alongside Casemiro. That has
He
worked in
does.
certain games.
He does.
So how do you think he's gonna build his midfield for this one?
He'll run with Casemiro, Ericsson, and Bruno. 100%. I think the team's likely to be Anana, obviously. I think it's likely to be Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Martinez, and Reguilon. I think Reguilon starts. I really do. He's trained today. I think he starts. Casemiro, Ericsson, Bruno, Anthony, and Rashford, and another. I mean, do you go in with Hoyland?
I hope so.
Why not? Why not? If you're fit, why not? If not, he goes in with Martial and he brings Hoyland on, say for. Although I would do half time, I would split it. I would do Martial. If you're going to start Martial, you're on for 45 minutes, pal. Then you're playing 45 minutes because you've got to get legs into Hoyland. So I would like him to start Hoyland, but I think Reguilon starts. I think Dallo drops. I think Dallo's drops to the bench. I think Reguilon starts, but we've still got a decent bench because we're going to have Garnacho on there. We're going to have Sancho on
Pellistri.
that bench. We're going to have Palestri on that bench. We're going to have Dallo on that bench. We're going to have McTominay on that bench. That is a better bench, than we've had for a while. You might even have Donny van der Beek on the bench if he doesn't go tonight. So Donny on his day. By the way, not there's. Oh, we're going to have Maguire on the bench, aren't we? So we're going to have the new keeper on the bench. So we've got a much better bench, and I think it could carry us somewhere. I really do. But that would be my starting 11.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I hope you're right. Yeah, I would like to see Reguilon and Hoyland come into the starting 11 to replace Dallo and Martial. No way can we start Martial in this game. He didn't he didn't give anything against Forest. I thought he was anonymous. Um, I know that it was his first appearance and since May, and he hadn't had any preseason. But
Mm.
we've seen Martial produce this type of performance again and again, and he's not going to make it difficult for Arsenal to play it out from the back. We know what he does. He just kind of walks around, doesn't usually challenge anyone, or he may pretend that he does. He might come in from the side and stick out a leg or something, but he doesn't. He's you're defending with 10 men when Martial is playing.
Yeah, you are.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
and
and, I, and I think Hoyland's going to offer more. He's going to offer first game. He's going to offer more. But it's difficult to say. Look, you spent 75 million quid on him. You got to trust him. You got to trust him at some point. So why not chuck him in the deep end? See if he floats.
yeah, and he can come off after 60
Of
if
course you
he's
can.
feeling the pace. So yeah, I would love to see the manager be bold and be brave and start Hoyland in this game. What what a fantastic debut it would be if he scored at the Emirates, Hoyland. That's the start that you want to your Manchester United career. Now, I'm
I,
not
I would
expect
imagine that's what he's thinking about. I would imagine that's exactly what he's thinking about tonight.
yeah,
Get that cross
tomorrow.
in, bang. Thank you very much. Next.
Yeah, it's a pretty big game to make your debut in. Like, it's not as if you're playing it's Wolves at home or Forest at home. This is Arsenal away. Couldn't be bigger. I mean, the only thing bigger than this would be making your debut at Anfield. I'm sure not many players have done that at United.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I want to see him get off to a flyer. And if he does, I can really see him getting 20 goals this season for United, no problem.
Yeah,
Um,
I said I think he'll get 15. But look, I want him to get 20. No two ways about it. If he gets 20, then it'll be interesting. And then maybe next year we go and get one of his brothers, because I think one of his brothers plays for Copenhagen, don't they? Or both of them. 18
well,
years old. Yeah.
he'll be playing against his brother very shortly as well.
Yes,
Um,
that's right. Yeah, he is. He's been playing against him. So, and his brother again is half decent by all accounts, and he's only 20, isn't he? Highland 21, 20, something
yeah,
like that.
20, yeah. So
Yeah,
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 there's yeah, they come from a real footballing family in Copenhagen. Yeah, so lots of interesting subplots to your Champions League draw. We have so much history with Bayern Munich, Copenhagen
yeah,
with Højlund and Eriksen going back there, and then Galatasaray from the 90s is that famous tie, "Welcome to Hell." So wonder will we see that banner again. And certainly gonna. It's not. People think this is going to be United should definitely finish second in this group. Not a problem. I think it could be tricky enough. I think we will need to get points off Bayern Munich to ensure
we'll
we
need
get.
it. Yeah, we'll need a point. Yeah, I think we'll need a point up. I mean, but look, by the time we get there, we could be really playing good football, and we could turn Bayern Munich. There's nothing to say we can't beat Bayern Munich.
Yeah, and the last time we were in the Champions League group stage 2 years ago, we were struggling through the group. We lost at home. No, we lost away to Young Boys,
That's
and
right.
then we had to rely on Ronaldo. I think scored in almost every game in that group phase. He got us out of a hole. He got us a draw in Italy against Atalanta. He got the winner against Atalanta at home. The winner against Villarreal at home. Very
Mhm.
very late on, and then we went to Villarreal away, and we were brilliant. I think
Yeah,
Ronaldo scored and Sancho scored his first goal for United.
Sanchez scored. Yeah,
That was totally unexpected. Fred was amazing in that game. So you never know if we're playing well, or if we desperately need the win. If we start off badly in the group and then we've got Bayern away in their fourth or fifth game, you never know. We could just and Bayern have already qualified. We could just go there and win. You just don't know what you're going to get from United, really. United
it'll
could.
be interesting. It'll be interesting. Just to see what we do from here on with what he's done, and how Ten Hag's assembling the squad. It'd be very interesting. But if we could go away and we could beat Bayern at the Alliance Arena, even with Sahari of Kane, it would be absolutely brilliant for us because it'd really set a marker down. And we need that. We need to start setting markers now. It's what football's about. Go away and win. And we start tomorrow, Sunday, which I'm really looking forward to. Really excited.
Yeah, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the game, albeit I'm a bit nervous about it as well. But the downside is that'll be another international break as soon as this game's over,
That's it.
which is a bit dire. Might be a wee bit more exciting if you're an England fan, but When you support a very small nation, it doesn't qualify for anything. It's very very dull
It's
these days.
it's dull when you're an England fan as well. Trust me, it's just dull.
Yeah,
It's
because
just dull. We don't need it.
yeah, the only thing exciting about international football is the tournaments themselves. Apart from that, it's not great, is it? Nobody really looks forward to
All
those.
anybody cares about. Yeah, it's all any. But Kyle, honestly, mate, it's all anyone cares about. Trust me.
Yeah, and this is the first of the three international breaks in the autumn, which is it's crap, absolutely crap.
Yeah,
But
yeah. We have September, October, November, don't we? So
yeah, and now after that, at least there's not another one to the end of March. So, there'll be a 4 month straight of club football. So, yeah, let's go to the Emirates, surprise everybody, and get a result. I would absolutely love it. Not to sound like Kevin Keegan or anything, but I'd love it if we beat them because they're so cocky. Arsenal fans, they actually just expect to beat us now because they're
I
the
do.
second best team in the league.
Yeah,
So hopefully we can go there and turn them over. So we'll wrap it up there. If everyone could please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and get more of your comments in down below. And it's been an
yeah.
absolute pleasure to have you on the show, Stu.
Pleasure. No, thanks for asking me. I really enjoyed it. It was a good chat. That I was flown by. We're doing. I think Mark's hosting a review, so have a chat with Mark or Keen, and come on and review across the way if you're not doing one yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I might do that. Absolutely.
Have a chat with Keen, yeah, because it'll be quite interesting. But no, thanks very much for having me, and thanks for everybody who's tuned in. It's I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you. I'll see you again sometime.
Take care.